What's going on, y'all? I am T from Tiny Cheeks Tarot, coming in with your new moon message. So today we are breaking down the new moon in Leo. This new moon is being opposed by Pluto, so there's this transformational energy, there's this shadow work kind of energy. So we're gonna get into all of that and how it relates to us personally. Before we get into the reading though, I shuffled a song for us. So the shuffled song for this new moon is Crazy by Doechii, and the lyric that stood out to me was low stress, no stalling, see a whole lot of big Bugattis when I walk in. So if you haven't heard the song, it's linked below. You can go ahead and listen to it. You can play it in the background of this reading, whatever you feel. You can listen to it later, whatever. But how it related to me in terms of this new moon, this is definitely like Leo energy, right? Like, see a whole lot of big Bugattis when I walk in. It's giving luxury, it's giving rich, it's giving wealthy, right? It's giving showboat kind of energy, show off, spotlight. And that is very much Leo. That's very much the sun. You also have the low stress. Leos love, naps and comfort kind of energy. The no stalling also made me think of the new moon is usually a time of starting new things, planting seeds, making new plans, things like that. And so the no stalling just reiterates it's time to move, it's time to go. The energy of this moon is like making us change something or making us transform in a way, especially with that Pluto energy. So that all made a lot of sense to me. The other thing I wanted to talk about is specifically, like I said, this new moon and the energy of Pluto that's coming in with it. So the energy of the sun is very specifically like life force energy, right? It's recharging, it's creativity, it's your ego, it's individuality. The sun is joy and happiness, right? So these are things that are reflected within this moon energy. But then you also have Pluto, and Pluto is transformation and rebirth and rejuvenation as well. But it's also the underworld and the unconscious and the shadow side. So you have all these energies kind of coming together and reflecting on us with this new moon energy, right? One of the things I thought was cool was the Sabian symbol for this moon. So Sabian symbols were developed by an astrologer. I do not remember which one right now. I think his name is like Mark or Marcus or something like that. But each degree of each sign of the zodiac has its own Sabian symbol, right? And the Sabian symbol that went with this moon is okay, a mature woman keeping up with the times, getting her hair bobbed, is the Sabian symbol for 3 degrees of Leo, which is where the new moon is now. And I want to talk about this, and I thought this was interesting because, again, even without the actual Pluto energy in this symbol, because it's supposed to be a Leo Sabian symbol, you still have the transformational energy, right? You have the energy of her cutting off her hair. So it's release, it's removal, it's change, right? It's the mature woman keeping up with the times. Feels like to me almost like, instead of being the identity that she's prescribed to in terms of mature woman, you know what I mean? She's marking her own thing, she's doing her own thing, she's making her own look. She wants to look different than what she's being told to. And all of the ways that this comes into me is, like I said, all of the energies that this moon is bringing in, right? Part of the energy of this moon is very transformational. It's about change. It's about releasing things that are weighing us down. It's about releasing things that no longer look like us. It's about stepping more into who you are now and having how, not just like literally how you look with the Sabian symbol, but how your life looks, how your goals look, how your habits look, align with where you are now. So I wanted to talk about that because I really thought that was interesting. the way it came out, because it still had that transformational Pluto energy to me, even though like within even the hair and the boldness of the hair was giving Leo, you know? So we talked about that. Now we can get into the reading. I'm going to pull some cards before we get into the cards. I'm going to show y'all what decks I'm using. I wrote a few questions I wanted to use for this reading because I wanted it to be about how we kind of call back ourselves and call back in our voice, like how we're stepping into this transformational energy. And so I wrote some questions down that I want to like move through as we go through this reading. Okay, so for this part of the reading, I'm going to use the Earthcraft Oracle. I really like this deck. I've been using it for a while. I'm going to use the book that comes with this deck because each card comes with a ritual, and because it's a new moon, I'd love for us to add some ritual aspect into our reading. So let's pull some cards and see what is being reawakened in us right now. Looks like something was turned over. Darkness. And you are sacred. I'll put it this way since this is how it came out. See if there's anything else. Oh, warrior woman. Okay. And abundance. Okay, so again, starting off with that Pluto energy, that shadow energy. The darkness card has the raven. She's in this like thicket of the forest energy. There's wind going around, so there's definitely like what you would consider maybe chaos kind of energy, and to me it's speaking to the transformative energy that we're going through right now, the will and the want and the energy shifting the things in our lives, shifting how we're moving, shifting how we're seeing ourselves, shifting how we see the things we want, things like that. And in terms of the darkness, it's bringing up things that might be triggering, or it's bringing up things that may be surrounded by things that you've told yourself, or like fallacies about you, you know what I mean? It just feels like we're drudging these things up so that we can get rid of them, right? We also have the you are sacred energy, and the lightness of all of the rest of these cards transposed with this one dark card to me says that like there's more light in this energy than there is the shadow. Yes, there is that shadow energy that we need to move through and work through healing, but on the other side of that there's so much light and color and like brightness that can come into our lives, you know what I mean? So part of what is being reawakened in us is life, you know what I mean, is really living life, is moving through out loud and being our boldest selves. You know, that's very Leo, you know. We have the you are sacred energy, so it's seeing yourself. Like I said, Leo energy has to do with self-identity, so within that is confidence and joy and self-love, and continuing to boost that energy within yourself and knowing that all of those things are true about you in terms of like you are who you say you are, and if you don't think that you're the best, then you need to work on that, because it's boldness, it's being gregarious in some instances, it's living out loud, it's living colorful, you know. And that's why we got these cards, because what we're reawakening in us is color, is life, is being lively and just sitting in who we are now and living that shit to the fullest in whatever way that that means, right? We have the abundance and the warrior cards, warrior woman, excuse me, on the bottom. And so again, even within this darkness being on top of the warrior woman, there's some ways in which we're fighting through this energy. There's some ways we have to like battle through some things that are coming up within this moon, and that are coming up in terms of dealing with our shadow sides. And you are fully equipped, as you can see in this card, to take on whatever it is that may be coming at you. And then again, on the other side of this is more, is abundance, is putting down your weapons and sitting in all that is around you, sitting in all that is, sitting in all that you have, right? And sitting in yourself in a new and different way, right? It almost feels like this is how this person started out, and then we kind of move through. And after the energy and the period of like fight or action or aggression or determination. And the warrior woman, we move to the softer, more evolved, spiritual, knowledgeable ease of this abundance card. So all of that makes a lot of sense to me in terms of what's being reawakened in us right now. I'm going to get into the cards to see exactly what the message is for each card. So, confusion often... Oh, sorry. This is for the darkness card. Confusion often comes for an... Okay. Confusion often comes from an inability to face how you got where you are. There's so much to process and heal from in the past that there simply isn't enough space to make room for the future. Facing your deepest secrets may seem like a terrifying task, but when you are lost in the depths of this shadowy forest, you must clear the thicket of complex emotions and fear that block light from showing you the way. Darkness has come to you because some answers are not ready to present themselves. You may be blocking blessed illumination through patterns of denial or desire to run away from a situation. It might seem like the easier path to try to outrun your secrets, but you can never truly hide from yourself. Unhealed wounds from the past will slow you down. Do not allow these wounds to cause you to doubt your judgment and sense of direction. You don't have to try to heal all at once, and you can't. I will tell you that firsthand, baby. You cannot, okay? Simply slow down and acknowledge... Simply slowing down and acknowledging the hurt is often enough to begin a major transformation and see a glimmer of the moon's light peeking through the canopy. And we're, again, in this place where I'm reading at this time, even though this is a timeless reading, it's a new moon. And the next thing we will see is a glimmer of light when the moon moves to its next phase. So I just love that. Self-reflection practice. Use the self-reflection practice to gently face the things you hold in deep, dark spaces within. To bring these lies and hidden emotions forward, you must acknowledge them, confront them, and release them. When the truth is right in front of you, there is no hiding from it. Sit in front of a mirror. Silently gaze into the depths of your eyes, into your soul, and try not to look away as you allow your reflection to speak to you. Take a deep breath and either remain there quietly looking into your eyes for 10 minutes or begin to ask yourself questions. Allow a pause after every question to give yourself the time to answer honestly and fully. Begin with a question like, why do I want the things I say I want? Are these desires aligned with me, or is there another reason? And I think these are some of the best questions to really ask right now in this phase, which just further reiterates to me why we got these cards, right? I don't want to make the reading too long, so I don't want to read all of the cards. I was going to read all the cards, but I'm going to read these two, and then I'm going to read the rituals for the ones on the bottom. So, you are sacred. Your mind, body, and soul are the perfect trifecta, the only things that are truly in your control and possession in this life. All three became your responsibility the moment you were born into this world. Earth Mother has trusted you to honor and nourish your physical being and to learn new things and expand your mind and to journey inward to connect with your wise and curious soul. It is time to acknowledge and embrace your personal power. You are the most sacred tool, and your body, mind, and soul are the ultimate sacred spaces. Know that your self-worth is not something that has to be earned. It is yours by right simply because you exist. You are worthy. There is no need to prove your value, and no one can take away your sacredness. You do not need anything or anyone to step into your greatness. Your ability to transform yourself and your life is already present within you. Shine your light, speak your truth, and show the world how strong you truly are. So a lot of what I already said, again, and I didn't read this beforehand, but a lot of what I already felt is, what these cards are speaking to, which is why I almost feel like I don't have to read the rest, because it's just reiterating what we kind of already talked about. Honoring the self ritual. Ingredients: a body of water, white flowers. Honoring the water is honoring the self. Be still with the powers that live within. Sit beside a body of water, a river, a lake, ocean, pond, or even a shower/bath. Meditate on the sacred connection between you and the water. When you're ready, walk into the waters and offer her white flowers. Okay? Again, it's a perfect time to do that because we're in a new moon energy. Moon is related to water. White can be related to the moon energy. So, again, this is part of why I wanted to read these rituals. So, this ritual that I'm reading now goes with the Warrior Woman card. Igniting the warrior spirit. And these movements call out the inner warrior and allow you to let go of any aggression you may be holding. Ignite the full expression of your power fueled by the heart energy, not anger, and feel your connection to the earth. Stand tall, open your legs wide, and squat down, exhaling through your mouth with a big ah. Then inhale through your nose and raise your arms straight up to the sky, with your inner palms facing inward. Finally, exhale gently for 4 seconds as you unbend your knees and come back to standing, bringing your arms down to the sides of your legs. Inhale through your nose and repeat this 10 times. And then our last ritual for this new moon and our reawakened energy is attract abundance affirmations. Affirmations are a great tool for manifesting abundance. As you say the words, they vibrate the energy you desire to bring into your life. To attract abundance, repeat this affirmation once in the morning and then again before bed. Simply close your eyes, place your hands on your heart, and allow the words to connect with you. Envision the things you already have and the things you're grateful for while saying them aloud. I am blessed with abundance in all areas of my life. I am grateful for the wealth and blessings that flow into my life so easily and effortlessly. Again, that low stress from the lyrics, right? I am abundant with love, happiness, and gratitude. I am never lacking. Therefore, I always have. Okay? That is our last ritual for what is being reawakened in us right now with this new moon. I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, we talked about like the shadow aspect, the transformation, the sitting back in ourselves, the sitting in what we have to bring in more, but like removing the things that are blocking us from being able to do that, you know. All of that energy comes up in these cards, and the rituals that are allowing you to align with the things that we just talked about, whether it's removing or bringing in or like grounding into or whatever it is, right? So let's move on to the second part of our reading. Okay, so in this next part of our reading, I wanted to get into what is blocking us exactly, like what's blocking us from this transformation, and within that, what are we afraid to say or do? So I'm going to start off with these Power of the Surrender cards and see a little bit about, okay, that was fast. Surrender the idea that you can fix someone. Surrender the drama. Surrender to trust. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. Okay. Starting with the surrender to the wisdom of your body, in the last part, it talked about it reawakening the sacred parts of us. And so how part of that is blocked is if we're not sitting in our bodies, if we're not paying attention to our bodies and what our bodies are trying to tell us, and the inferences that we get, whether it's intuition or, you know, like a clair, whether it comes up in like sense or smell, or like in your stomach, your gut feelings, or like you get like the hair stand up or something like that, or whether it's, you know, reflected in how your body is reacting to certain things. You know, if your body is achy, if your skin is reacting a certain way, like paying attention to those things. And within not paying attention to those things, we're not, you know, that's part of what is blocking us from being able to move in this reawakened, transformative way that we're being pushed to right now, right? Surrender the idea that you can fix someone and surrender the drama together, okay? Like, trying to fix someone, trying to push people to be things that they don't want to be, or that they're not ready to be, or that they're not in general, is going to cause drama, right? It's going to piss them off. It's going to piss you off. It's going to cause resentments. It's like, it's futile kind of energy. And if you're at a place where you're supposed to move and be better and do more, then you need to do what you need to do. And you may have to leave them where they are, or you may have to, check in with them occasionally, but not be there in the capacity that you've been there, because this is how we are blocking ourselves. And you don't want to be blocking yourself from the abundance that we talked about. I don't even know where it went. See, we couldn't even find it. We couldn't even find the damn abundance. Anyway, we don't want to be blocking ourselves from the abundance because we're too focused on somebody else and trying to make them better, or trying to bring them with you, or trying to pull them up, or we're too focused on what other people got going on in terms of like their bullshit and their drama and the messiness, and that takes us away from what we're focused on. Even if that's like parasocial, even if that's something like, you've been like caught up in everything that's been going on Love Island, even though Love Island is over and you're still like scrolling every fucking second on that. And I'm just giving an example, you know what I mean? But like that would be an example of like a parasocial, like messy drama situation. Or if you're on TikTok just watching people, do cuss people out or tell story times or whatever the fuck, and you could be doing something for you, or you could be making a plan or resting or whatever it is that would actually be helping you. You know what I mean? I feel like that's part of where this like surrender the drama comes in as well. Let me read the bottoms of these cards real quick. Surrender to the wisdom of your body. Listen to your body's message about a person or situation. If you feel physically drained or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you are energized and happy, move forward. Within saying this, it was interesting because I got a download from Spirit the other day that I was supposed to share, and I haven't shared it yet. But one of the things that they were talking about was like, if you're in a conversation with someone and you start to feel pain in your body somewhere, so like specifically, I'll get into the examples, but if you start to feel pain in your body somewhere, sometimes that's really speaking about like what is happening energetically in the conversation, and less about what's physically happening in your body, right? The physical action of what's happening in your body is just an indicator to you that like something is off. So for example, one of the things that they told me was like, if you're having a conversation with somebody and your wrist starts to hurt, or your like forearm starts to hurt, then either you're holding on to the person's situation, argument too tightly, or they might be, right? Another one it gave me was like, if the back of your neck starts to hurt while you're having a conversation with someone, or your back starts to hurt, then they may not be giving you all the information. Or like the back of your head also, they may not be giving you all the information. You may not know everything that you need to know. Like there may be shit being withheld from you. Like, shit, that's why it's your back. Shit's happening behind your back kind of situation. And so that's part of what they laid on to me. And so that's part of what comes up with me when I read this card. So like, again, pay attention to the things that are coming up in your body. They're not coming up for no reason. Whether they're trying to give you answer about something that's going on with you inside physically, or whether it's trying to give you a psychic message. You know what I mean? Surrender the drama. No matter how emotionally charged the situation is, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered, will help resolve the issue more quickly, right? And again, it's also within alignment of like who you want to be. And if you watched our week ahead reading, part of what we talked about in one of the piles was like the intention behind what you want to do. You know what I mean? If you're in a space where what you want to do is like cuss somebody out, and that's the energy and your intention for that, then that's what you're trying to do. But if that's not your intention for that, or if your intention is not to get involved in somebody's messy bullshit, then we need to pay attention to where we are, or what we're doing, or how we're responding, or like what we're getting involved in. You know what I mean? Like it may not be as harmless in some cases as it seems, because it brings you down this path that like takes you off of yours, Surrender the idea you can fix someone. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. So again, if there are situations with people where you're trying to like bring someone along with you, or you want to like help them see themselves in the way that you see them, or whatever the situation is where you're trying to move somebody that's not ready to be moved, or that will never be ready to be moved, and also bigger than all of that, it's not your place to move them, to bring them, to fix them, to heal them, whatever it is. Then like you need to evaluate how if you need the situation, not even need, if you want to deal with the situation, because in the situation you'd have to deal with it a different way, right? Because you're not going to fix them in that sense. And in some situations, some of us deal in situations and relationships where we're dealing with the person because they need healing, and we don't even recognize that that's part of the dynamics of that relationship. And once that person doesn't need healing, or once we recognize that we can't, then that dynamic changes. So that may be part of it. Or it just may be you, like I said, each person must be accountable. It might be you needing to be accountable and say, actually doing this is stopping both of us from healing, or stopping both of us from growth, because I'm trying to pull you up, and maybe because I'm doing that or doing things for you, you're less likely to do things for yourself. You know what I mean? So that may be the situation as well. The last thing we have is surrender to trust. Trust yourself and your decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path, right? So we talked a little bit about the You Are Sacred card and sitting in your most confident self within that Leo energy. We had the Dochi lyric, you know what I mean? And this to me speaks of like, also to that Sabian symbol of like doing your own thing and being your own person and being okay with being your own person, and sitting in this like the Bob ass energy, you know what I mean? This release energy, this transformed energy. It's like, you ever have a hairstyle, like you get a hairstyle and you see somebody and like, oh my God, you look like a different person. Like, this is what the energy of this new moon is giving, right? And so all of these things are blocking us from being able to obtain that energy and to feel that energy specifically in our own lives. And so in whatever ways that we're trying to fix people, or we're feeding into drama, or we're not listening to our body or intuition, we need to move those habits, that thought process out, and surrender into the trust of knowing more about who you are now, knowing more within that about what you want. And if you don't know these things, being curious about that, right? And trusting that like those things are what's leading you to where you need to go next, because these things have clearly been blocking us. And if you already felt it, then this is validation. And if you didn't know, then here you are, So that, in terms of the things that have been holding us back, is, I feel like, what we get from that. The next thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is like what we need to specifically release to shine. Like, we got a little bit of that in the what's blocking us, but I just wanted to see like what we can really just like kind of let go of, And for this, I'm using the Astro Matrix Tarot. So let me move these a little bit. Yeah. So it feels like, again, we're being asked to release the ways in which we're not sitting in ourselves, the way in which we're not sitting in the like freeness that you want to actually feel in whatever way that is, It also feels like with the Page of Cups that part of what we need to release is like these old dreams. Like I said, we need to look into ourselves and really ask ourselves those questions from the darkness card that came out in the darkness card, in terms of like, why do you want what you want? And do you want those things now, or does what you want look different than that? And within sitting in the trust and surrendering to the trust, are you allowing yourself to like imagine and envision big, or to like kind of dream with what you're trying to manifest and call in? Or are you playing it small, or like playing it too realistic in a sense, right? This also kind of goes with the new moon message that I put up on Instagram, where we talked a lot about like grounding into the things that you have to get what you want. So again, this is what we can release right now, what we're being called to let go or release. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay. It feels like with the Five of Swords, There's a need to, like I said, with the being rigid in, sorry, I gotta move these. With the being rigid in your thinking, maybe with the Page of Cups, there's a need to, like I said before, with that, release like this idea that like you need to have something specific, or you need to have it all, or something. Like, it's like there's something that like just does not sit with where the fuck you are anymore. Like, it's like at one point you wanted this, this was one of the things that you wanted, or this was a way that it was okay to move, or something like that, and it just like really doesn't work anymore. Like, the shit, it feels like it rubs you the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like, something that you're doing rubs you the wrong way. And if it's either within your thoughts or your habits, or like how you're, yeah, it feels like clarity, it feels like thoughts, it feels like habits, it feels like how you're either speaking to yourself or certain ways of thinking that like you're just beating, like that you allow yourself to kind of beat you down in a way in some people's cases. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rubbing a damn microphone. But yeah, so if that makes sense, that's part of what you need to let go to be able to shine, right? That's what we're asking here. And we have the Sun card that would be right over that card. So again, it's literally part of what you need to let go to be this person, right? Within that, if you are somebody who, it doesn't feel like this necessarily, but also if you're somebody who, when you're not feeling your best, may lash out at other people, and when you lash out, that shit is like, you know what I mean? It's real cutting. We need to pay attention to that and like be more mindful of that, so that we can start to change that, because it feels like there may be ways in which you block people from seeing your light because you have an energy that may be misdirected at times. You know what I mean? Then with the Two of Swords, what we need to let go so that we can shine is our indecision. Again, you are sacred, you are worthy, you are loved, you are knowledgeable, you should be confident. We're growing in our confidence, we're growing in our self-love and our self-knowing. And so you don't have to be so indecisive. When she gets up, she's going to move with precision in this card. And so that's part of how we need to be moving. And if we're moving from the space of like where we presently actually are, and then the things we want, from recognizing what we already have and then realigning to what we want now, then we'll be able to more easily get up and make those moves. Okay, and that's part of how we'll be able to shine, because you'll be able to make moves that align with what the fuck you want to do and where you want to be, and that give you, tangible, what am I trying to say? Tangible assets or whatever back, you know what I mean? But you'll also be able to see that within your thoughts and the clarity, and how things are more actionable and clear, and you're more easily to plan and move. You know what I mean? When you know what you want, when you know who you are, you know what you want to take, you know what you don't want to take, you know what, like it's much more clear to you. So I feel like that is part of how that is part of what we need to release to shine right now. So the last part of our reading right now is how we can honor our inner light. So I am going to use the Trust Your Vibe cards first by Sonia Choquette, and then I think I'm going to move into the Wisdom Oracle. So again, this is how can we best honor our inner light right now. I think it was that one, actually, not that one. Feed your spirit. Okay, yes ma'am, because you are sacred. And right now you might not feel that way, or you might not feel as confident as you need to, so that makes a lot of sense. How can we best honor our inner light right now? Okay. Oh, and then here we go. Boom, boom. All right. So let's move these a little bit. We have feed your spirit, time for crayons, stay in your own skin, expect the best, and then get grounded and call your joy guides at the bottom. So again, starting with feeding your spirit, it is time for you to sit down at the table with you. This is what this new moon in Leo is calling you to. And sitting down at the new table with you is about discussing who we are and what that means and how we feed that, how we expand on that. If there are things we can either listen to or watch or start to do that helps us expand who that person is and where that person is going, right? Like, if you are not in a space to really believe, like if I say to you, you're sacred, and you say, I'm sacred, and it kind of sounds like a question, right? Or you sit down with yourself and you realize you have new goals and ambitions. Like, we want to work with that. We want to work with that energy. We want to add into that energy. So if it's, adding more confidence in yourself or belief, then we're adding in affirmations, and we're doing glamour magic, then we're doing things that add in this love energy. We're starting to look at things. That was one of the things I said in a reading recently with a client. Start to look at things through the eyes of love. Start to walk lovingly. Like, start to feed love into your life so much that that's what you feel inward and outward. You know what I mean? And specifically with yourself, because this is a Leo new moon and we're talking about the self. We're talking about identity, right? So that's part of feeding the spirit. Within that, the time for crayons and the joy guides comes in together for me because there's this playful energy, right? Like, Leo is like fun and comedian like, and there's this energy that within all the work that we're doing, we still need to bring in the fun and the lightness and the joy. That's also part of what you may want to work on within where you're at in this new space. Maybe we called in stability and foundation and consistency and all these things, and now we realize we need a little bit more time to ourselves. We need a little bit more flexibility. We need a little bit more ease and comfort into our lives, and like, this is part of what we want to see now, and so the time for crayons to me is part of how we can bring that in a light way to bring out your inner light. Like, that's something easy that you can do, but also it's a metaphor for just bringing in things that make you happy, which is part of where the call in the joy guides comes in, right? So joy guides would be like part of your spiritual team that is just about like fun and happiness and bringing in more of that energy to you, right? So part of calling on your joy guides would be calling in the people on your spiritual team or the spirits that you work with that will bring you in like that unbridled happiness, that are bringing in these fun experiences and this good energy, and can tell you how to bring more of that into your life, whether it's to do a working or something like that, so that you can feel more of that, so that you can enhance that in your life. Because why wouldn't that be one of the goals within this new person? It may look differently, and that may be part of what we're like researching or like playing with the time for crayons. Because also when you draw and you play with crayons, especially in a Leo kind of energy or a Pluto kind of energy, we're coloring outside the lines, baby. We are drawing whatever the fuck we want. We're using different colors. We're doing what we want. It looks however we want. And so part of this may be talking about like you doing that in a fun way and not feeling so restricted by it, or feeling like it's so weird or different, because you're different, right? Like, we're bobbed. We cut all the hair off. We're bobbed. So like, that's part of what feels like these two cards we're talking about, right? Then we have the stay in your own skin. And we already talked a lot about the identity, about the self. And within the stay in your own skin, it feels like, again, number one, we need to pay attention and be mindful of our, how am I trying to say this? Of being scared of doing or being the person that you want to be based on what other people are going to say, or almost feels like fear of outcome. You know what I mean? Like, you are who you are. You need to be building this confidence in you that that person is good enough, that that person is loved, and that that person deserves to sit in their whole selves and be whoever the fuck that means that they are within this moment, and whoever it means that they're going to be later. Because we're becoming so good with ourselves in terms of honoring our light that we are no longer able to make ourselves small, or to be who other people may have wanted us to be, or sit in the criticisms of other people. Okay, that's part of how we can honor our inner light within this new moon energy. Then you have get grounded, and I just feel like there's ways in which, like we talked about, people aren't in their body with the surrender to the wisdom card, to wisdom of your body. And there's ways in which people need to ground into the person that they are now, right? And ground into themselves and ground into getting to know themselves. And so I feel like that's also part of it. If it's more specific that you need to get back into your body, there's ways that you can do grounding exercises, right? You can sit on a wood floor or a stone floor, or like lay on a marble countertop or something like that. You can put your hands in the dirt. You can put your feet in the grass or the dirt. If you have a potted plant and you don't have access to like a park or something, you can put your hands in that. You can put your feet in that. If you just have soil, you could put some soil in a pot and do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a way to get grounded. You could work with crystals. You could work with sound energy. Like, there's so many different ways to ground yourself, and even more so to use specific tools to like ground yourself into whatever kind of energy you want to use. That's definitely something to work with. Another thing that I had wanted to talk about before that I had forgot to talk about was the hertz that go with the planets related to the major aspects of this new moon. I'm somebody that uses frequency energy a lot, and I meant to put this up earlier, but it's fine. If you are somebody that wants to either learn to work with frequencies or utilize frequencies, the frequency for the sun is 126 hertz, and the frequency for Pluto is 140.64 hertz. And you can just Google it and find it either on YouTube or on Google. You can play them in the background. You can utilize it if you want to do some kind of working or to like sit in and build more into that energy. But I just wanted to add that in because I'm somebody, like I said, that works with frequencies. So I wanted to give y'all the option of learning more about it or like utilizing it if you wanted to. Okay, so that is our new moon in Leo reading. We got a lot of information. We have a lot of homework. I always give homework, my clients know, but I love to give homework because it's one of those things that if you want to shift the energy, if you want to do the work that they're giving us, then like we tap in, you know what I mean? So like I said, that is our reading. Let me know how y'all feel about the reading, if you loved the reading or if you resonated with the reading at all at any point. If you can leave a lion emoji in the comments, I would love that. I'm a Leo, so that would just make me happy anyway. But yeah, other than that, follow me on all the socials at Tiny Cheeks Tarot. Book a live reading if you would like to on wildheartbotanica.com. And follow me on Substack or Apple Podcasts, Spotify to hear our monthly reading. I'm in the process of recording the next one, and that one will be out for August in the next couple of days.